We continue our book, Riyad-us Saliheen by Imam Nawawi rahmatullahi alayhi. This is the 51st chapter of the book, and the chapter is with regards to keeping the hope in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the hadith for tonight is one Anas radiyallahu anhu, أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ومعاذ رضي الله عنه رديفه على رحل قال يا معاذ قال لبيك يا رسول الله وسعديك قال يا معاذ قال لبيك يا رسول الله وسعديك قال يا معاذ قال لبيك يا رسول الله وسعديك ثلاثا قال ما من عبد يشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله صدقا من قلبه إلا حرم الله على النار قال يا رسول الله أفلا أخبر الناس فيستبشروا قال إذا يتكلموا فأخبر بها معاذ عند موتها ثلاثا أو كما قال رواه البخاري ومسلم. Brothers and sisters, hadith is from both the Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim. Anas radiallahu anhu reports, and he mentions that one day Muaz radiallahu anhu was on the same camel or the same ride as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Nabi of Allah sallallahu, while they were riding the same animal, and Muaz radiallahu anhu was behind him, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ya Muaz," and Muaz radiallahu anhu in reply to this said, "Labbayka ya Rasulullah wa sa'adayk," meaning this was the reply of the Sahabi Muaz radiallahu anhu, which he said, "I'm responding to you." Labbayk meaning I'm present for you, Ya Rasulullah, and I'm at your pleasure, Ya Rasulullah. How can I assist you? How can I help you, Ya Rasulullah? And the Prophet ﷺ again said, "Ya Muaz," and then he said, "Labbayka ya Rasulullah wa sa'adayk." I'm here for you, Ya Rasulullah. I'm at your pleasure, Ya Rasulullah. How can I? And the Prophet ﷺ said it thrice, 3 times. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, "O Mu'adh, ma min abdin yashhadu an la ilaha illallah." From amongst the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, anyone who testifies and bear witnesses and says that there is none worthy of worship except Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his abd, his servant, and his Rasul, sidqan min qalbihi, from the truthfulness of his heart, illa haramallahu ala nar, except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make fire, Jahannam, haram upon him. Upon hearing this, Mu'adh radiallahu anhu said, "O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, shall I not go and announce this amongst the people so that they could have the glad tidings, they could have the basharat?" So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "O Mu'adh, then they will only rely upon this alone." Meaning, "O Mu'adh, don't. Because if they hear this, then they won't do anything else. They will only rely upon this." Mu'adh radiallahu anhu himself mentions and says that I did not disclose this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ till the time of death. Meaning the last moments of Mu'adh radiallahu anhu came because he was afraid that he would be saving or protecting what Rasulullah ﷺ had left behind for the ummah at large. Few things to remember in this particular hadith. Number one, Mu'adh radiallahu anhu is amongst those companions of the Prophet ﷺ that is known for his ilm, for his knowledge. If you remember that famous saying of Umar radiallahu anhu at his time, when someone said, "Oh Umar, how do you expect this ummah to be at the time of the Prophet ﷺ as it was at that time?" And Umar radiallahu anhu said, "We are spread 2.2 square million miles with 22 provinces and so much land." But he said, "I wish I had the likes of Muaz ibn Jabal. I wish I had Muaz bin Jabal in front of me." Meaning, the ilm of Muaz was in this ummah. Muaz radiallahu anhu was amongst the people who was considered to be the muftis, the scholars, the ones who gave verdict in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu as well. So he was known as person of great knowledge, right? There were many people who were known for their characteristics, some for their qiraat and their Quran, but Muaz radiallahu anhu was known for his faqahat, jurisprudence, fiqh, law itself. And now Muaz radiallahu anhu was called 3 times, and he said the exact same word 3 times. And of course, this shows that Muaz radiallahu anhu is saying that I did not forget anything that the Prophet said. Even when he called me 3 times, I replied 3 times, which means that he was, of course, being mesmerized by the company of Rasulullah ﷺ, but recalling everything that the Nabi of Allah ﷺ had said. And of course, why did Rasulullah ﷺ stop Mu'adh radiallahu anhu from conveying the hadith? Because the Nabi of Allah ﷺ did not want the people to only rely upon this basharat and glad tidings and not do anything else. Because Allah is so kareem, Allah is so forgiving, Allah is so rahim. As this hadith mentions that whoever testifies and passes away sidqan min qalbihi, and that's why the most important part of this hadith is not only to testify, but let your actions embody the words that you say from your tongue. Not only the word, but the actions from your body also has to say this, right? A person can say, I love so and so, but if your actions are contradicting to that, that means that the words are not truthful, right? A child says, I love my parents, but their actions are contrary to the love by disobedience to the parents. So the words did not count till your actions do not stand behind the words that you are saying. So the word when Rasulullah sidqan min qalbihi, that they are truthful from their heart, means that their body also embody those actions. Last but not least, and I'll finish with this, ulama have mentioned that when Rasulullah had mentioned to Mu'az radiallahu anhu not to convey, why did Mu'az radiallahu anhu convey the message? Even right before his death, passing away. Three things ulama have mentioned. I'll mention it quickly. Ulama have mentioned that Mu'az radiallahu anhu was of the opinion that the people were very new in Iman. When the shock and the desire and the love of Iman became a part of their life, when Salah became a part of their life, then it was easier to tell them this hadith. Because in an initial phase, when you're not connected to A'mal, it might have been easier for them to let go of the actions. But when a time came that Mu'az radiallahu anhu shared this information, A'mal had enriched and absorbed in the lives of Sahaba. They couldn't live without namaz and salah. They couldn't live without roza and sadaqah. They could not live without Quran and zikr, meaning that became a part of their lives. So now it was easier to convey the message. So he only shared the message when it was not only the basic iman, but when the amal had incorporated in the lives of Sahaba. That's number one reply that the ulama have given. The second thing that ulama had mentioned is that Rasulullah did not give nahi tahrimi, meaning it's haram for you to share, but Rasulullah had mentioned just because of the precautions of the time itself. And to convey the message of Rasulullah what he was sent with, Mu'adh radiallahu anhu was afraid of kitmanul ilm, protecting or safeguarding that ilm that Allah has sent Rasulullah. Last but not least and final thing I'll conclude, Rasulullah, and this is the interpretation of the muhaddithin, that Rasulullah had stopped Mu'adh radiallahu anhu for sharing this information with awamun nas, open public, but not with the khawas, meaning with those that were ulama, those who knew the deen, who understood the deen a little bit better, or those who were old in deen and understood the deen better. So he only shared it with those individuals that were old and understood the deen better than those that were new in deen itself. So these are three interpretations that have been given. But again, the reason why this hadith has been brought in this chapter is for the reason of reminding us of the rahmat and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That indeed it is the karam, the mercy and the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that will allow us to enter the Jannah on the day of Qiyamah. Yes, we make the effort, we make the amal, we do all our actions, but at the end of the day, even the tawfiq to do those actions is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The qubuliyat and acceptance is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we should always turn towards the mercy, the hope, and the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah give us tawfiq and ability to practice, inshallah. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha